Let me just tell you why all of you are wrong.
Here comes the United bias, but yeah, let's go.
Okay, so to start off with, before I say the 6 that will be picked, you cannot be in the Premier League. You can't be the first 6 of the Premier League Hall of Fame if you've not won a Premier League title.
That's absolutely ridiculous. No.
Hello. This is the Benched Podcast with me, the one, the only, Ethan Cunnison. Round of applause.
Boo!
Okay, so okay, not respecting in this podcast at the moment, but we move. So today we've got 2 guests you might have seen before.
Hang on, you got 2 of the hosts as well. Don't forget us. We've been here with you.
I'm getting to that, Bennett. So
you better be.
We've got 2 guests, but first, because he was rude, I'll go with Kingy first. Kingy, say hello.
Hello, how you doing?
Okay, and in my bottom left, we've got Georgie V in his Spain shirt. Say hello.
Yes, welcome back. Viva España.
That was cringy. And
fake Spain shirt.
Huh?
Was your fake Spain shirt that you got from Turkey for £10?
This isn't fake. This is player issue, lad. This is player issue. This is what the
whatever. We're not doing some free sponsorship. And we've got 2 guests coming back. Very good friends of the channel. We've got Brandon and Adam. Say hello.
Hello, guys. How we doing?
Brandon, Madam.
Madam.
Madam
Gandhi.
Madam Gandhi. You know.
So, I'm just going to say this now. We would have done a podcast about last week about the Super League, but we're late to the trend. So we're going to do it tonight. But first, before we start, I want to say to everyone, you know the usual: like, share, subscribe. I want more views on this podcast because we're doing some bangers today. And the bang is going to start off with the Premier League Hall of Fame. So, basically, a brief description. We did a podcast about this a couple of months ago when it was first announced.
No, it was about a year ago, wasn't it? It was when we first started. It was one of the first few ones we did, didn't we? I swear.
I can't remember.
I'd say it was about a year ago. I remember
it was one of the first podcasts we did, I think.
Okay, a year ago. And then, but today they've just announced that Alan Shearer and Thierry Henry are the first 2, and they've released, is it a 23 man shortlist. And you can pick 6 players out of that 23 to be the next players of the Hall of Fame. So, lads, what do you think so far? Let's talk first a tiny bit about Thierry Henry and Alan Shearer. What are you thinking? Like, what do you think of it?
Well, I mean, to be fair, you can't. The first 2 players of Pitts, they're pretty obvious ones. Shearer, he's the record scorer in the league. He's been obviously legend for both Newcastle and Blackburn. Obviously, he only won the 1 league title for Blackburn, but obviously he's going to be more remembered for his goals and his contributions to Newcastle, really. But it's a worthy like acknowledgement, really. And then Thierry Henry is probably regarded as one of the best players in the Premier League. To be fair, I remember watching him on the season reviews when I first started watching football, and he was scary. He was scary to watch. And it's great to watch him play, to be honest.
Anyone else add anything before I said a 23-man shortlist?
Alan Shearer makes sense. I don't think there's literally nothing else you can say on that. Everyone knows it makes sense. Thierry Henry, I've never tried to replicate as many goals as him. Just on the back garden, like the guy's he was just insane. Watching him in the Champions League, like I found with football nowadays, there never seems to be any space. Like when you get on the ball, you always close down quickly. But with him, that sounds really, really cringy and cheesy, but he made it. Like I watched him run it, like his goal against Real Madrid. So good. Like he created spaces. The way he would run, it looked like he had all the time in the world. But it's hard to do that nowadays. So yeah, so Thierry Henry definitely, yeah.
King Adam, want to add anything?
Yeah, you can't argue with the facts of Shearer being, the top goal scorer. And with Thierry Henry as well, he's got like multiple golden boots. He's helped Arsenal to the Invincibles. Like you can't argue with the facts that's in front of you. So yeah.
And King, anything to the finisher?
Oh, to be fair, I does agree with what they've all said. To be fair, so yeah.
Okay, so let's say the 23-man shortlist. Then after that, us 5 are going to pick our 6 that we voted for on the Premier League website. And then I'll put the link in the description so people at home, people viewing the podcast, you can pick your 6 as well. So, in alphabetical order, I think. So number 1, it goes Tony Adams, Dennis Bergkamp, or David Beckham, Sol Campbell, Eric Cantona, Andy Cole, Ashley Cole, Didier Drogba, Les Ferdinand, Rio Ferdinand, Robbie Fowler, Stephen Gerrard, Roy Keane, Frank Lampard, Matt Letizia, Michael Owen, Peter Schmeichel, Paul Scholes, John Terry, Robin Van Persie, Nemanja Vidic, Patrick Vieira, and Ian Wright. So, before we start saying our 6, any players that retired, who do you think's missing from this 23-man shortlist? Anyone to start?
I think we know that you need to go first because you've got some complaints to make. You might as well get out of the way.
There's the one for obvious reasons.
Get out of the way.
There's missing for obvious reasons, obviously ongoing things, but Ethan can carry on with that.
So Ryan Giggs has definitely been missed out, but we all, if you're a football fan, you know why he's been off the shortlist. But all I'm saying is there's certain people on this list, I won't name who have had some. I guess I'm not condemning what Ryan Giggs has done. Obviously, I know why he's not on the list, but all I'm saying is there's certain people on this list that have done things in their social life and on the pitch. It shouldn't really be on this list. I'll keep it off there. I'll keep it there. And also another person who's missing for me, Ruud van Nistelrooy. Probably one of the best strikers I've ever seen in the Premier League.
All I'm going to say about Van Nistelrooy, just quickly, all I'm going to say about Van Nistelrooy is there are players that are higher in the list that have had more goals than him, but,
all I'm saying is Ruud van Nistelrooy had quite a few injuries in his career, and if Thierry Henry's on this list, Ruud van Nistelrooy should be on this list because him and Thierry Henry were competing for golden boots whilst Van Nistelrooy was at United. So that's all I'm saying.
I don't know. Anyway.
But yeah, anyone else missing? Patrice Evra as well. One of the best left backs the Premier League's ever seen.
What we'll learn is they're all United players that are missing, but there's plenty of United players on the list anyway.
Bennett, I'm sorry. The most successful team in the Premier League history, the majority of the players should be Man United players. Am I right or am I wrong?
You got to think about maybe obviously there's no, like you say. I'm trying to think of, you got maybe Petr Cech who's not been on there. He's been one of the Premier League's best teams.
No,
yeah, that's what I was thinking. Thinking
Petr Cech. You've got maybe
Petr Cech.
No, Petr Cech. All he did at Arsenal was parry shots.
No, what about his Chelsea career? No, he played for Chelsea as well. He played for Chelsea too, King. You don't forget.
Edwin van der Sar.
He didn't continue over his whole career.
You got maybe David C.
Van der Sar's a shout. Actually, I didn't even clock onto that one. Van der Sar. That's a huge one.
Gary Neville.
Jamie Carragher could be on.
He deserves to be in after everything he's done already, like the past week.
Claude Makélélé.
Nah, he's a legend. He's a legend, but he's not a Premier League Yeah. He's
What about Vincent Kompany? Maybe.
I think it's because he's still playing at the moment. He's not retired yet.
Is it? Oh, okay. Yeah.
Michael Essien.
I wouldn't say he's a legend.
Robert Pires, maybe Arsenal. Robert Pires.
Is Yaya Toure still playing?
I think he's still available to play. He's not officially retired yet.
Wayne Rooney.
He's just retired.
He will be on there though.
He has to be on there sooner or later.
Yeah, surely.
I was like, give him his own medal.
Florence Cinema Pongol, he should be on there. Great player, great striker.
Eric Kemba.
Oh.
I think that Kompany, Toure, and Rooney are definitely three decent candidates to say. I don't know how soon they'll throw them in there, but I don't know, within the next year if they do an update.
They're on the next shortlist.
They have to be.
Yeah. Anyway, let's move on to our nominees then.
He wants to start off the debate.
Let's get yours out of the way because you got a lot to say about that. So get yours done. Yes, get yours done.
Can I start?
If you want to, King, I don't mind.
If you start.
Okay.
Start then.
Get my screenshots up.
And I want you to say your six. I give a brief explanation of why you're picking those players.
Okay. Well, first player I picked. Played for Leeds and then transferred to Man United, and that's Eric Cantona. I've seen some over the time of some of the goals he scored and just how iconic of a player he was, and he was just like he was a bit like, for me, he was a better version of like Ibrahimovic, but just playing in the Premier League. Basically, it was just like, I don't know, the way he was, the way he played football.
What you do? What's going on here?
What?
Right. Now we're talking.
Oh, has he got something for cancer?
He's quit the podcast. That's it. End of.
Welcome back to the Next Bench podcast with your new host, George Bennett, today.
Get out!
Cancer.
It's
backwards, but you can still see it.
But yeah, just the way he played football, some of the goals he scored, and just like some of the iconic moments in the Premier League, for me, that's why he deserves to be on the. He reminds me of Ibrahimovic, to be fair. Like, obviously, it's just the way they both play football and the confidence they have.
He'd have a long career, Cantona. He's quite short at Man United, isn't he? Like, how many years is it? Is it only like?
I think he retired when he was like 28, 29.
Yeah, he was quite young when he retired.
On here, it's only 90. It says 1992 to 97. So
he was there. So the Premier League started in 92. He was obviously there before.
Oh, no, of course. Bloody hell, I've just fallen for them.
1990, I think it was.
Fans exposed.
Oh, that's embarrassing. That's embarrassing for me. That's this big. So yeah, that was embarrassing for me.
Go on, Keane. Let's let him go.
Second player, Peter Schmeichel. For me, he's the best keeper that's been in the Premier League since the Premier League's been established. So had to be on there for me. Third player, I have picked Frank Lampard. I picked Lampard just because I think he's been Chelsea's best player in their club history, to be honest with you. So I think he had to be on there, and just the way, the consistency he performed for Chelsea over the years, and and even when he went to Man City, he was still playing well and still influencing games. So he had a very good career. Has to be on there. Fourth player, I've gone for Steven Gerrard. I think Gerrard has to be on there as well. Him and Lampard, just I don't think you could not have them on there. Gerrard's done so many good things for Liverpool. Obviously in the Premier League, yes, he hasn't won a Premier League, I suppose, but it's just his influence as a player in the Premier League and his consistency. He's been Liverpool's best player in the Premier League era for me. Next one, John Terry. Again, for me, Chelsea's best centre-half to play for Chelsea. Consistent. He's part from the bond, slip in the Champions League final. But yeah, John Terry has to be on there. It's just he was a rock for Chelsea for so many years, and he had a fantastic career there, and he has to be on there for me. And sixth one is a bit of an interesting one, but I've gone for Robbie Van Persie.
Okay.
Just for me, you know, a lot of people say, I'm going to say something quite outrageous here, but I personally think Robin Van Persie was as good as Thierry Henry in his prime.
Outrageous.
That's disgraceful. How can you say that?
Oh my God.
What you want?
Robin Van Persie was as good as Thierry Henry in his prime.
I think
No
King's still
way.
drunk from last
Absolutely
night.
not. That's not the
I'm
worst.
not.
That's the worst take ever. Come on.
No, it's not. Robin Van Persie, he's the amount of goals he scored for Arsenal and Manchester United. That 2012-13 season, Robin Van Persie was. I've never seen a better striker in the Premier League than that season. Do you know how many goals he scored?
Absolutely ridiculous. No way. That's mad.
Robin Van Persie scored. How many goals did he score? I'm going to find out how many goals he scored in that season. I'm going to do it right now.
Even Ethan's looking at it.
Ethan, can you find out how many goals Robin Van Persie's stats from 2012 to 13? Or his Premier League stats overall?
Did you just outright say best striker in the Premier League ever?
He said he's on par with Henry. He said he was on par with Henry, Brandon.
On par with Henry.
So 2012,
in that one season?
Wait, no.
He scored 26 goals. He scored 26 goals in the
Frank,
Premier League that season.
How many is Henry's best?
I'm sure it's 35.
No, it wasn't.
Nah,
Yeah.
that's no, I can't.
No one can back that King game. I'm sorry, they can't.
Oh, I can.
Oh, granted, he's a great player.
So the reason why King is wrong is
Go on.
one sec. So Kingy is saying that a player that had 26 goals in this season, which is good, is better than a striker that currently holds the record of most assists in a season. Was it with 20 assists?
What was Van Persie's assists?
You won't be.
He had 15 assists that season. So Thierry Henry's best season for Arsenal is 30 goals in the Premier League.
Yeah. Van Persie's 4 behind him.
And let me just add...
You won't catch it either. You won't catch it either. That's it. Game over.
Let me just add, Thierry Henry had 20 plus goals in 6 seasons.
How many Van Persie have in all his seasons?
Bear in mind, he was there longer. He was in the Premier League for a longer period, I'm pretty sure.
Robbie Van Persie.
Look how many goals he scored at Arsenal.
Robin Van Persie only hit over 20 goals in 2 seasons.
We can understand you voting for Van Persie because he has been a good striker, but you can't say he's on par with Henry. That's outrageous behaviour.
Did you not see some of the goals he scored in that season?
Yeah, it was great goals, lovely goals. I'm not going to deny it. The one against Villa was iconic. I'll give you that one. That was brilliant. But...
It's your choice, right?
Robin Van Persie was a fact. Robin Van Persie he's better than Didier Drogba.
I'd agree.
Yeah.
Is he better than Wayne Rooney?
Yeah.
Is he better than Wayne Rooney?
Oh.
Is he better than Wayne Rooney?
Not as he Wayne Rooney. No.
Anyway, let's move on because we're going to be here all day. Right. Do you want me to go next then?
If you want to, yeah.
Right, okay. So I've gone for a lot of the picks that have come out already are quite similar. So I've gone for Cantona. I've gone for Cantona to start with as well. That's my first pick for obvious reasons. I mean, the one I remember of Cantona was it Sunderland he scored against and he went to the top. Yeah, and he like turned around and everyone like came over to him. That's quite a nice goal. I remember that one quite nicely. So he's on there for me. I've gone Peter Schmeichel as well. Obviously, I can't deny he's the best keeper in the league. There's not a lot you can say about that, really. I've gone for... Hang on, who else have I gone? Roy Keane. I've gone for Roy Keane in midfield. I don't... As a human being, I don't really like him as a human being, but you can't deny how good he was as a player. I mean, he led that Man United midfield for, years and years, won plenty of league titles, and all-round leader in the midfield, which is what I think is key to United's success in the last couple of years, in the early years of the Premier League. And as part of that, I've gone for Patrick Vieira as well. obviously to keep the link of those battles that he had between those two against when United and Arsenal played each other. I say Vieira was better on the ball maybe than Roy Keane, but I just feel they were both really like comparable players in the leadership side and like the quality side really, and I think that was a key aspect to why I picked both really. I've gone for Gerrard for obvious reasons. Probably one of the Premier League's best midfielders. Just he's made my Liverpool supporting life bearable for how many years and how much like rubbish players we've had in the past. He's always been there to save my weekend basically, and it's I know it's a silly reason why, but Gerard, I don't know how you can't have him not in there really. And then I made a last minute change for my final one. I've decided to go for Frank Lampard now as my last pick. I was going to go for another player, which I'm more did out of like just like as a Liverpool bias. I mean that'll probably reveal who it might be, but Lampard as well, probably up there with Gerrard as one of the best midfielders in the league really, and his goal scoring record proves that as well. So that's my pick. Thoughts, anyone?
Well, at least you didn't say Robin Van Persie.
No.
Well, I'm going to be honest. I've gone for 5 of them 6. I agree with 5 of them 6 players you've chosen.
I mean, I've noticed now I've gone very top heavy with midfielders, so I mean that probably wouldn't be like the case all the time.
Absolute shambles.
What do you mean?
Oh, Ethan, I found something. Theo Walcott reckons Robbie Van Persie was a better finisher.
Now Theo Walcott said it, you know.
There you go.
It must be true.
Ethan,
best finisher ever. See,
Ethan, what makes you think what do you like about my list then? Just quick look.
You're missing out. Adam, you say yours first because you said that you went for the majority of Bennett's picks, so you might as well say yours first.
Yeah, get out of the way. Yeah, that's fine.
Okay, there's a controversial one, but I'll leave that for the last. I've gone for Eric Cantona. You know, he's you got to argue he's one of the best. He's one of the best personalities in the Premier League season.
Yeah.
Not as good as Van Persie, but
just stop.
His personality is amazing. Yeah. Steven Gerrard, you know, captain, leader, legend.
Yeah.
You know, he's dragged Liverpool through some, you know, not so good times. Peter Schmeichel, as you know, as people have said before, one of the best keepers in the Premier League. Can't really doubt that. I've gone for Frank Lampard. Well, is arguably one of the most complete midfielders ever in football. He's got the assists, he's got the goals, he's got the leadership, he's got, you know, the defence when it needs to be. I've left these 2 till last because I've gone hard on the Arsenal Invincibles because you look back on the Premier League history and you can't doubt or dismiss the Arsenal Invincible season. That's something that's always going to be in the history, and a big character and a big, you know, leader in the dressing room is Patrick Vieira from that. So I agree with George in that aspect, you know, captain, you know. And then the last one, it might be a bit of a wild pick, but I'll go on Dennis Bergkamp. Because, you know, his goal scoring ability, he obviously, you know, a massive integral part of the Invincible campaign. With Thierry Henry, the link up, and, you know, like that goal against Newcastle, I think it was.
Oh, that's the best one. Yes, you can remember that. Yeah.
Yeah, he flicked it around. Nice finish. You know, I don't think I've ever met someone like that's not tried to recreate that goal. I think everyone has tried to flick it round the mate, turn him, and bang it in bottom bins. So, you know. That's my
Adam,
argument.
I don't think you've seen some goals are scored at Joey's, not gonna lie. That's what I'm saying.
Well,
You
go over the bar.
I saw Rooney's, mate.
Yeah, let's yeah, they're like the one great goal that you would score, and the other 10 where the ball would just go through your legs and you've just fallen over.
I was just constantly recreating Robbie Van Persie's volley against Villa.
Shut up, man. Right, come on, Brandon, up to you now, mate.
Boys, I think I'm about to smack Kingy out the park for controversy here, because mine are so different. Morgan Gibbs White. Right. So, firstly, Dennis Bergkamp, right? Okay. I love Dennis Bergkamp. I think he's... What was the nickname? Was it Iceman? Is it? I suppose like the nickname was Iceman. I don't know. I always... The goal that Adam was speaking about, like, it's just stunning. It's so stunning. Like, obviously, he's part of the Invincibles. Like, he's a quality... just striker. He's centre forward. I'm sorry, he's more of a centre forward, wasn't he?
He's number 10.
Centre forward.
Yeah.
Centre back, right?
Yeah, the quality of that guy was just immense. Okay, so I've also got Frank Lampard. I'm trying to get the non-controversial ones out of the way. So Frank Lampard. The one that stands out to me is the 177 goals for a midfielder. That's very, very impressive. Really a great captain, great midfielder, and obviously he's got the titles to go along with it as well. He's only got 3, but I've got to give him credit where it's due. Frank Lampard was a great midfielder. You what?
More than some.
Yeah. Okay. So on to the next ones. Now, this one I don't think is any way controversial. It kind of makes sense, but no one said it yet. Paul Scholes. For me, like, I again watching, like, I'm surprised that no one said him yet. Like, I obviously again, titles 11. The quality of the midfielder. I remember there was something like, I think Barcelona went into a training session for the day, and the quote is that they all went in, sat down, and watched Paul Scholes highlights, and they were like, "Do this, do that, do what he does." Like he was insane, and so other stuff like, obviously this is all like word. Just word passed on, like this is necessarily doesn't have to be true, but
made up, basically.
Ronaldo's doing all these skills and word of mouth. Ronaldo's doing all these skills in training session. Paul Scholes gets a ball, smacks it miles, hits a tree, and Cristiano Ronaldo tries to do it, and he spends ages. Scholes hits it in one go. Like it was subtle quality. It was subtle quality. He was really good.
So many stories about Paul Scholes. Like, yes. I saw the interview the other day. I think it was Ben Foster. I think I told Brandon about this. And it was his first training session at Man United, and he was doing like goalkeeper drills, and it was just watching Paul Scholes do these passes, these skills, and he just makes the hard things look simple.
Yeah.
And I think Ben Foster said like wow or something like that was amazing. Wow. And then the goalkeeper coach, without watching, he was just like, "Oh, is that Paul Scholes?" And Ben Foster was just like, "Yeah, like his ability, it's unmatched." But for me, he obviously wasn't in there, but
You'll have to tell me who this Paul Scholes is. I've never heard of him. Paul Scholes.
Anyway,
do you think I've been saying schools?
No, King is just messing around.
Oh,
last one.
So I don't know. I've still got 2, I think. I've still got 3. I was going to say there was some quote that someone said. No, obviously he's not on this list, but so someone said about, and this is so really weird. Someone said about Sergio Busquets, right? You watch the game, you don't see Busquets. You watch Busquets, you see the whole game. I think Scholes had that as well, But then on top of that, like the bangers, all of that sort of stuff, like he was just insane. Now, right, controversial
ones.
ones.
Podcast.
Rio Ferdinand. I've got Rio Ferdinand. Great class defender, got the titles. Controversial ones. I've gone for Ashley Cole. Interview. I know. This is the one I really like, Ashley Cole. And again, I've heard people talking about him, saying he's one of the toughest defenders, and it's got as far as Ronaldo saying that as well. Like he says he played against. He's out of all the players he's played against, he was scared to play against Cole because he was just an insane defender. Really quick, really intelligent, was able to read the game. I know it's controversial. There's a lot. I was choosing for ages with this, but I've gone for Ashley Cole because I just think he's a class player. And then the other one, this is one I think is going to kick off. Michael Owen.
I mean, you can't doubt his scoring, but he's just a Judas in there.
Ballon d'Or winner. I've watched a load of highlights.
He's a good player.
I think he's class. I spent ages trying to choose these, and that's what I landed on. I thought Michael Owen is one I would potentially change, but that's what I've got here, so that's what I voted. But yeah.
Well, I don't know. He's not class, but once his injuries hit him at Liverpool, his time was done at the top level.
Yeah, it was unfortunate, but he can't control that. But when he was fit, he was good.
Basically,
he still comes to Man United and score goals.
No, but not as quick, not as much as he did Liverpool.
Obviously, because he was older.
And he's injury prone.
But he still scored some banging goals, Rose.
He didn't. He scored one.
He scored one against Man City. You remember that? That's it.
I know he did, but that's all we remember.
How many famous goals he scored at Newcastle? He can't. So anyway, that's that then.
I wanted to say Steven Gerrard very, very badly. If anybody can be a captain, it can be him. Ahead of anyone else, he is just captain material, better than anyone else. But unfortunately, it's the fact that it's the titles, it's the stats. I don't know. It just
okay. Wait, calm down.
I shouldn't really mean anything.
It's a jam-packed podcast episode. So let me just tell you why all of you are wrong.
Here comes the United bias. But yeah, let's go.
Okay, so to start off with, before I say the 6 that will be picked, you cannot be in the Premier League. You can't be the first 6 of the Premier League Hall of Fame if you've not won a Premier League title.
That's absolutely ridiculous. No, it shouldn't.
Let's kick out all the Liverpool players that are on this list because I'm sorry, you haven't won a Premier League title, so.
Actually, Mike Owen's won one. Mike Owen's won one.
Yeah, at United, so pipe down, son.
That means that's ridiculous. How can that be the case?
Let's push those Steven Gerrard and Robbie Fowler aside. Let's push them aside. Keep Gerrard is number 7. But out of these 6, they're all Premier League winners.
It means nothing.
It means nothing winning a Premier League.
Hang on, Jerry Vardy. Yes, let's put Jerry Vardy in then.
Let's rewind to George Bennett when Liverpool won the league title.
Yeah, where's Morgan?
It means nothing.
No, but
it means nothing.
A Hall of Fame it isn't. You can't just base it off trophies they've won. You've got to base it off the quality they're playing the league.
Yes, but it holds a lot of weight, though. Particularly if they've got a couple of them.
If anyone deserves to win one, it was Gerrard. But they can't blame the players he was with.
And these 6 players are all quality, and they've won a Premier League title, not just quality. So, to start off with, Brandon, Adam, congratulations. You got my number 1, Dennis Bergkamp. Dennis Bergkamp, defined the number 10, the number 10 position in the Premier League. Honestly, he's the best number 10 ever to embrace the Premier League. I'm telling you that now. He defined the position for me.
Wrong.
Well,
who has then? Who has then? Can you just quickly?
Who's the best number 10 in the Premier League?
Ever.
Robbie Van Persie. Yeah.
No, because Van Persie wasn't a number 10, was he?
Exactly. So I don't know what you're talking about. He's the best
Rooney,
number 10.
Rooney was better. Rooney was better than
Rooney was
Bergkamp.
main. Rooney played everywhere. He's not a main number 10.
Yeah, but Rooney was better than Dennis Bergkamp.
Shut up. You're wrong. Okay.
I'm wrong. He's better than Dennis. How many more trophies has Rooney won than Bergkamp?
He was not main number 10, Kingy. So I don't know what you're talking
but he's
about.
still scored more goals and still got more.
I said he's the best number 10.
No, he's not.
Whatever. Okay. Second.
He's not.
Second is. It won't sound surprising, but out of the 6 for me, he's the 6th one. I'd say it's Eric Cantona. So for me, Eric Cantona is the reason why Man United won the first Premier League title. But then again, he was an iconic player due to his personality, his leadership for United, and he set the standard for the class of 92 and basically every Man United to come after him. He set that standard. But then again, the goals and assist contribution isn't as much as some players in the Premier League, and that's why I'd say he's the 6th one. Next, I'd say Rio Ferdinand, the best defender ever to play in the Premier League by far. Don't chat to me about anyone else.
What?
Whatever.
Talk to us again in a few years' time, and that could change. But anyway,
Ethan.
Yeah, when Van Dijk moves to Real Madrid or something like that. Yeah.
Ethan.
Yeah.
You might. I don't know.
Virgil van Dijk is better than Rio Ferdinand.
Shut up. You're wrong.
Kingy.
You're wrong.
I like that.
I'm saying this now.
I'm
saying this now. You're wrong.
I like that.
No, he's not. Look how rubbish he was at the end. Look at how rubbish he was at the end of his career at Man United.
Yeah.
He's falling over all the time.
Kingy, his last season for United was one of his best ones. I don't know what you're piping up with.
I'm not. It wasn't.
Kingy, I rate that bit, Van Dijk.
Kingy, shut up. You're wrong.
No.
Kingy, you've recovered against the Van Persie stuff
now.
Okay. Next one.
Moyes, he was awful.
He was one of our best players that season. I remember it clearly.
Next one.
Next one. I'd say the best captain in Man United history and one of the best captains in Premier League history, Roy Keane. For me, he's like Eric Cantona. He set the standards at United. I know he had a hot head, but he defined this position for me. He was one of the perfect box-to-box midfielders. He was a brilliant tackler and he did contribute in goals as well. He was one of the perfect box-to-box midfielders for me. Then 5th, I've gone for Frank Lampard. You can't deny, for me, Frank Lampard with the amount of goals he scored from midfield for Chelsea. That alone, plus his Premier League, his 3 Premier League titles, is why he's one of the probably second best midfielder to play in the Premier League. And the last one, Brandon. Thank you. Paul Scholes.
Who's Paul Scholes?
Shut up.
I'm sorry.
Very Paul Scholes, that's it.
The agenda against Paul Scholes is shocking.
Well, it isn't, is it really?
Shocking. In Premier League, yeah, for me, I'm saying this now, I'm being honest here. Gerrard is a brilliant player, was a brilliant captain for Liverpool. But for me, his best moments, if you're going to think best moments Gerrard had in his Liverpool career, they're mainly if you're going to think best moment in his career, you go in Istanbul and the FA Cup final against West Ham. I can't think of a defined performance from Gerrard in the Premier League, and it's the Premier League Hall of Fame. Paul Scholes.
No, but it's about the stats as well. You can't look past the stats that he's had compared to Paul Scholes. Paul Scholes. No one's saying that Paul Scholes is a bad midfielder, because everyone thinks just because he's third out of the 3 midfielders that he's rubbish.
Why isn't it?
Compared to Lampard and Gerrard, he's not as effective compared to those 2.
You're talking crap, Bennett.
No.
Bennett. I'm saying this now. The reason why Frank
You would win more trophies with Lampard or Gerrard in your team than you would.
I'm saying this now, Bennett. The reason why Frank Lampard and Steven Gerrard scored more goals than Paul Scholes is because most of their career they were a number 10 in that they were higher up the pitch. Paul Scholes dropped further back into midfield as double pivot for most of his career. How are you expecting a player to smack 20 goals a season deep in midfield?
Well, you got also then you got to look at the quality of the players that both played for, like especially Gerrard in that way. We had poor players around him. It's more amazing.
So why is he in
that amount of goals?
So why is he in the Hall of Fame when he's carrying a team on his back? For me, Paul
that shows how good he is. That shows how good he is.
You didn't win anything, so why are you in the Premier League Hall of Fame?
Doesn't mean anything. It's about the quality of the player, not the actual career that he had. So should Darren hang on? So from your logic, should Darren Gibson be in the Hall of Fame? Because he's won that many trophies at Man United. Anderson.
Bennett, I'm saying his goals and assists plus him winning a Premier League title. Let's go to Paul Scholes.
Let's put Anderson because he won loads of trophies.
Paul Scholes had 107 goals in the Premier League. He had 55 assists in the Premier League. So you're saying that's not contributing?
But yeah, Anderson did well for Man United. He scored that way.
He should be in the Hall of Fame, King. That's it. We should put him in the Hall of Fame. He won that many trophies at Man United. It's only Premier League title.
Lampard scored, for being further up the pitch, he only scored 70 more goals than Paul Scholes, and he had loads more appearances, more than Paul Scholes as well. Gerrard, how many goals did Gerrard have for Liverpool? Having the Premier League. Gerrard only scored 19 more goals than Paul Scholes. Bennett, you're talking crap. You can't say that. How can you say that a player is more has scored more goals? And of course he has, but you're acting like he scored 40 goals in the Premier League.
No, but you're not understanding. Paul Scholes is an important part of that Man United team. I'm not denying that. Gerrard was that Liverpool team. Frank Lampard, for the most part, was that Chelsea team.
Yes, I know, but this is a Premier League.
No one's going to remember Paul Scholes compared to that, though, as an important
It's a Premier League Hall of Fame. And for me, I'm not saying he shouldn't be in the Hall of Fame at all. I'm saying
he should be in the top half. He should be in the first few mentioned.
He shouldn't be. I'm sorry.
I think he should.
Anyway,
let's move on. Let's move on from it now.
Lads, George Elakobi carried walls in 2011.
Georgie Elakobi.
Sorry. A player that's had this many titles in his career and scored that many goals and had that many assists in his career should be one of the first players in.
So we should put from that regard, we should put all the Man United in Hall of Fame then, and then finish it off.
I'm not saying that, Bennett.
That's kind of what it is.
But I'm sorry. But Bennett, I'm sorry. If you could have a team that's been one of the most successful teams in the Premier League era, they could have the majority of those players are going to be in this Hall of Fame.
Yeah, but you don't put all of them in at once. You got to spread it evenly, and that's why you put Gerard in there.
I'll pick two players.
He's not good. He didn't win a league title for Liverpool. He didn't deserve one because the team was crap. I'm sorry. Well, no, he could have moved on. He could have moved to a different team and won the league there. That could have been point.
He was this close to Chelsea, you know.
Yeah, but he didn't know, did he? So you know, you can say if some ways, you know.
Let's look at the United players I've chosen. Eric Cantona. He's probably the one that I might have swapped for Gerard, but he's won a Premier League title at the end of the day. Rio Ferdinand, the best defender. Roy Keane, one of the best midfielders, and Paul Scholes, probably the best Premier League midfielder, plus the titles he's won. Let's move on to the Super League.
Ridiculous.
You two will never agree. You two will never agree on that because we've had this conversation before. You will never agree.
Guys, the people who are watching, tell us in the comment who your first six will be.
Yeah.
And give me all the reasons why George Bennett's wrong.
Matt Jarvis,
I don't know how I'm wrong, but, you know.
Michael Kitely, Carl Henry.
Morgan, Gams, Pedersen.
Roque Santa Cruz.
One Sebastian Veron, he's won a league title, lads. Let's all put him in. Okay.
But I was saying our league title. He's
Sebastian
acting like
Veron.
Paul Scholes won one league title when he scored 11. When he's got 11 Premier League titles.
I think Veron was better than Scholes, mate. I think I know that.
Okay, let's look at the Super League. I don't know how long we've been talking about that.
I feel like I've just lost 20 years of my life.
Right,
Argument.
Let's go.
It was a whole. It was a whole. It was a while.
Okay, so, Bennett, do you want to give a brief description of like the crazy week we had last week?
Right. Well, from my experience, it was a Sunday evening. I was settling down, just chilling. Probably watching a bit of Netflix, you know. And I saw.
You're out with me.
I was over you, so yeah. Yeah, sorry, mate. I completely forgot. Yeah, well, it was just before me and King were about to head out just for a little like drive around, and I see on Twitter there's the Super League trend, and I'm thinking, what's going on here? What's going on? I click on it on Twitter. There's breaking news saying that there's going to be a 12-team breakaway league featuring all of the Big Six in the Premier League plus Barcelona.
Big Six.
Yeah, the so-called Big Six. With Barcelona, Real Madrid, Atletico Madrid, and Juventus, Inter Milan, AC Milan. It would have been obviously, as we know now, it's been cancelled. But what it would have been a 12-team breakaway league that have all played each other. That have replaced the Champions League. That have all played each other in like a league system, like a league format, and obviously they go on to whoever's top wins it. Blah blah blah. Obviously, as a pot for joining that, they've gained quite a lot of money, which probably would have ended any sort of competition in football, as quite a closed like shop, I think they called it. And obviously, football fans in general weren't happy with this, as I was, and I'm sure the rest of you were unhappy with it too. And obviously, this lasted for a couple of days until was it Tuesday ended, kind of. So yeah, Tuesday came around basically. And teams had started to leave because of fan unrest. Obviously, Chelsea, I think, had a few protests outside Stamford Bridge. Liverpool fans put a few signs up on the Shankly Gates by Anfield. United fans were wanting Glazers out, for example, their owners. And basically, those sorts of things would go on through all the big six sides until basically teams started leaving one by one. Until it more or less killed it off, the idea of the Super League. I know currently Juventus, Barcelona, and Real Madrid are still kind of in it, but it's not really happening. It seems
it's not dead.
It's not yet.
Not dead.
I think it will
no
resurface too, but we've avoided something quite terrible, really. So I don't know how you lot feel about it now, but
let's see, because we've got two Wolves fans here, like two like a team that wasn't included in the Big Six. What was your opinion of it at the time? It was a brief description, obviously, but yeah, go on. Bradley, you can go first.
Adam, go first.
Okay.
Well, obviously, you got to look at it from 2 point of views. It's a fan point of view and an owner point of view. For owners, it's obviously very lucrative. You're getting more money from, say, the Super League than you'll get from like the Champions League or Premier League or like any other competition. So you look at it from that point of view. For them, it's sort of a no-brainer to be interested in the competition. Whereas with fans, obviously you look at it from a fan point of view and it's just, it's a terrible thing. Games will get boring. There's 12 teams in there, and if they face each other every week, you see Liverpool versus Real Madrid every week, pretty much. It'll just die down. I think I think Florentino Perez said that like young people were getting bored with football or something, but you're gonna get bored with that. Like I don't know. Overall, I think it's just a very bad thing, and luckily the fans have prevailed in this one.
Well, what it also it spits in the face of sorry, mate. It also spits in the face of tradition of like of obviously supporting your club through like thick and thin, because ultimately it's going to be a close shop. What risk have you got now? Look, say I don't know. So if you look at Arsenal, for example, look how poorly they've been doing this season. Why should they be in that sort of Super League when they've had a poor season? It's not fair on teams like say West Ham who've done really well this season, Leicester, and it just rubs people the wrong way when teams like Arsenal, Tottenham, Milan, who've not really won trophies in the last couple of years, other than a few maybe like cups, like an FA Cup or something. What gives them the right to really be in that Super League? And like, to be honest, as a Liverpool fan, if you hadn't won our Champions League and League title the last couple of years, you'd have questioned whether we should be in it, really.
Yeah, very true.
I mean, for me, because I don't know about anybody else, but like I picked up on this Super League thing. I think it was around the time that Barcelona had is it something like where there was a potential that they were going to join another league because there was this stuff going on with their city and their connection with Spain and stuff like that. And I swear the Super League stuff was coming up around then. The Super League stuff was coming up around then, so I kind of knew about it, but obviously it died off for ages, and then it came up. For me, I mean, I wouldn't have. I hate the way that we're going to do it, but I don't. But there's a couple of things I would have happily seen changed. I've now voiced this already. I hate the fact that Champions League flops, drop out the group stage and go to the Europa League. I'm up for seeing change, but I'm up for not. I don't want to see the changes that they've described so far. Certainly the ones that they spoke about how they're going to change the Champions League anyway. Despite everything, I don't think it's great. I think it's supposed to be like loads more games. Same as Adam, games are going to become dull. Not only were people going to start getting bored of watching Liverpool versus Real Madrid, but also think about the teams that are playing and they're at the bottom of the league and they're like, well, there's absolutely no chance we're going to win this anymore. Their games become just a bore. They become a complete bore. They're going to be pointless. And I'm sorry, but Arsenal, Tottenham, Spurs, all of that would have got slapped up. Like those games, like they would have just got. Those games would have been so boring. It would have completely killed that excitement. Like, I'm not a Man City fan, but I'm very excited to see what happens with Man City now that they're into the semis. I'm really, really excited to see that. I don't think you get that. You wouldn't get stuff like that in the Super League. So that was a big thing for me. But I raised the question: do you think there is a way that they could do this and we actually like it? Jen, do you think that there is a possibility that they could come around the corner now and be like, look, we'll propose this, and let the football community go, well, actually, that's all right. Like, do you think that's a possibility? It's slim. It's a slim chance, but it's a question that I ask.
Ingy, what do you think too?
I mean, I think I've said before to everyone, I don't think something that's not broken. There's nothing wrong with the Champions League at the moment. The Champions League's fine. I enjoy watching the Champions League. I enjoy watching the Europa League. The competitions are fine as they are. I mean, I don't know why they're really changing the format, to be honest with you. Just for money, really. But I've always said there's no need to fix anything that's not broken. I was really considering not supporting Man United if they join this Super League, because you just completely ruin football, the team that I've supported since I was a kid. And to just play the same teams and just ruin football for teams lower, who really need money and are struggling, and you just see all this billions of pounds being spent on it. It makes you think, well, why am I supporting? It's not the team's fault, it's the owner's fault. And obviously I'm glad that we've pulled out, but I'm glad that other teams have pulled out. And obviously, because, I was upset. I might be, not being able to support my team just because of what they were doing, going to the Super League and just kind of ruining football. But luckily they didn't, so I can continue to support them. But it makes me think now in the future, I think it's important that when we're allowed to go back to grassroots football like we have done before, I'm going to start putting more money and, investing more money into going to more non-league games for the team. We go and watch AFC Bridge North, because they need the money. and I'm not going to spend as much on T-shirts or any merchandise from Man United until if they get new owners, I will. But at the moment, no, because the owners don't deserve the money. Because ultimately, they've tried to ruin football, and okay, yeah, they pull that now, but they need to do something special if they want to get the fans back on side. And I just don't think, for all the years and debt and the problems they've caused, I think they're not going to. And I think a lot of owners of other clubs as well, I think, are going to be a bit. And I think Chelsea and Man City owners will probably be reasonably concerned because, well, City can't really be annoyed at their owners because if it wasn't for their owners, they wouldn't be successful.
Yeah, that's true.
And
no, they wouldn't
Chelsea
be
as well.
They'd be in League One, let's be honest.
Yeah.
Chelsea might be a little bit better off because they're in the Premier League a few years, like for a spell. But I don't think they were really doing it. They're like top half. They're like Leicester on now.
Like Arsenal, Spurs, I have the cheek to want to join that league is beyond me. I mean, yeah, okay, it was a bad idea, but at least teams like Man City, Man United, who are actually doing well this season, or and Liverpool obviously won the league. They actually have like a right to maybe think we should be in that. Though wrong, I don't agree with any of it. But Arsenal, a team that's finished ninth last season, 10th this season, losing. Did they lose to the weekend? Was it Everton? Drew to Fulham and started celebrating the 92nd minute to draw to Fulham. I'm sorry.
Then you got Tottenham a cup final. Then you got Tottenham a cup final.
Honestly, Arsenal Spurs. Exactly. Arsenal Spurs are not big six teams. Leicester and West Ham are bigger than them. They've got better players than them. Everton are better than Arsenal. So just joke clubs, guys. Just joke clubs.
I mean, one inch. So go on, Ethan. Go on. I was going to say something.
I think a lot of people to blame about this Super League. I think the way for us to blame is like catering to all these big all these so-called big clubs. Even with the new format of the Champions League, they're still catering to players who are not players. I mean, teams who've done well in the past or who are recognised as big clubs, and they're going towards the new league format. The only difference is between the Super League and the new format of the Champions League is that the money doesn't go to these founders of the club competition of the cup competitions, and also I think companies like Sky and BT there to blame. Like the amount of time for years now, they've been calling these teams the Big Six. And as soon as the Super League says it, all these people are hating the owners. Of course, they should be hating the owners, and I'm fully in with the cause of getting the Glazers out, Kroenke, Levy, Abramovich, even the City owners and FSG. I mean, they shouldn't be the ones making decisions in the Premier League because they're trying to with such causes like Project Big Picture. They're trying to control the Premier League because of the agenda of the companies like Sky and BT are setting for these 6 clubs. For me, I said this in the chat that we've got the only team for me that should be in this Super League is Liverpool. Arsenal haven't won a Champions League. I won a Premier League since God knows how long.
2004, yeah.
2004. Spurs haven't won a Champions League or a Premier League. Chelsea were the second. I'll probably say they maybe should because they've won a Champions League semi recently and they're successful in the Premier League. City, I know you're successful recently successful in the Premier League, but you've never won a Champions League yet. And United haven't won a Premier League since 2012. 2013. 12-13. And we haven't won the Champions League since 2008. I haven't won in the final since 2011. So Liverpool, for me, they've got the pedigree in the Premier League. If they've won 19 Premier League titles and you've won 6 Champions Leagues, Liverpool is the only team for me that should be in this Super League. Benny Karen.
Fair enough.
Well,
I'll probably
the thing is with the owner situation, and obviously I feel for United fans, obviously with the Joel Glazer situation, they've obviously rinsed your club for a lot of all this. Obviously Tottenham have had their problems with Levy, and obviously how tight he is with money. Kroenke obviously is another problem with Arsenal. And I feel with the worst thing is for me with FSG and John Henry as a Liverpool fan, they've actually done good things for us. Obviously, I know. Go on.
This is the problem that I'm starting to have because, in all fairness, me and Kingy we've been complaining about the Glazers since they've come into the club. And the amount of fans that have been laughing at United because of our crappy owners about all the money that they've taken out the club, so all saying, "Oh, you won't win a Premier League now because of these owners." We've been saying for years now, like we're used to the Glazers ruining United. We're used to it, but it was always going to be about time. It's going to go up to ruining the Premier League, and they obviously did. And with these owners, and it really frustrates me because for me, I'm glad. I'm kind of proud of Liverpool going against FSG because they have brought in money into Liverpool. With the new training ground, the training facilities they brought into Liverpool, you brought in big signings and you've got a title to back it. But City, Chelsea, I'm sorry, they're never going to go against their owners because they know without those owners, good God.
Oh yeah, they're done. They're back to where they used to be.
They're almost forgiving. They're almost forgiving the owners for this Super League fiasco because City fans are never going to go against Sheikh Mansour. I know he's done a lot for the community of Manchester, around the Manchester City area. But he's a money grab. He's a money grabber at the end of the day. The only reason he could have been the club that all the smaller teams looked up to because they could have stood their ground and said, no, we don't agree with this Super League. Even though we got more money than a country, we don't agree with this Super League. But Chelsea and City, I hear that were the only clubs that had the hesitation, but they went into the Super League because they didn't want to be left out. So you say people congratulate them for dropping out first, but the way I see it, they're just a bunch of wussies because as things got tough, they just dropped out quickly. At least clubs like United, Liverpool, Real Madrid, Juventus, and Barcelona stuck to their guns and stuck to what they thought, their principles of what they thought was a good idea. As soon as things got tough, City and Chelsea dropped out because they didn't like the hype they deserved.
Another thing I've thought about here is obviously there's local fans who are giving, like, say, the sides in the top six a bit of stick for it, saying, "Oh, look at you, look at who you're supporting. Why aren't you supporting your local team, etc." But if you look at the Premier League below that level, I'm thinking of teams who'd actually want to join that sort of like club. I could see a few of them would jump at the chance. You got West Ham, Everton, yeah. You got, I'd say Newcastle would as well.
If Newcastle got the takeover in the Premier League that was taken away from them, they would have been in the Super League.
I think Mike Cash would want to do it anyway. I think he'd love a bit of money to get Newcastle sold off. I don't know about other clubs as well. I mean, I don't know if maybe Wolves could do it, maybe Villa. I don't know.
Well, Wolves said that they wouldn't. They're totally against it. But the problem is, and also the mentality behind who they sign. Nuno, I find it's quite a humble set of. I don't know. I mean, it's all down to personal preference. So I find it's quite a humble set of players. I feel like they wouldn't. But the thing is like. Money holds a lot of weight. Like, it's unfortunate. And I don't think I can sit here and say that my own club wouldn't go and do it. I don't think that anybody in that sort of position is going to turn around and be like, no.
If you look at this,
it's hard. It's hard to accept.
If you look at the situation in China, for example, with the pandemic, imagine if one of those Chinese-owned clubs ended up joining the Super League. Think of the money that would go back into China for that. That's and look at it obviously as well.
I don't think the Premier League, the 20 Premier League clubs, have given a lot of money. I heard a lot of hesitation of the Premier League clubs giving money to teams lower down in the divisions when the pandemic first hit. They all hesitated. So every owner, if they were to say that they wouldn't have been in this Super League if they were invited, they're a bunch of liars. Because at the end of the day, who's going to say no to 3.5 billion?
They'll keep their club going for forever. They'll be safe forever. They'll have no need to worry about anything like that. But
I think a lot of owners were just jealous of the fact that they weren't invited.
Fair enough.
Obviously, also we're not condoning the fact that the clubs were invited, because it's not fair on everyone else, and I agree with it. It's morally wrong, but.
Yeah.
But every fan that's out there, it's not over. I know the Super League's died down a little bit, but it's not over. We need to. Every fan needs to come together and take away the power from these owners. Like, I hear that there's going to be a protest on, I think it's on the 2nd of May at the Man United Liverpool game.
Mm-hmm.
Like share the protests around social media. Go to protests if you can.
Don't buy club merchandise from me. I'm not buying Liverpool kits next season. I'm gonna give it a rest for a year.
I wouldn't really encourage you going to protest during the pandemic.
I was going to say.
No, I would. No, things need to show to the people up top that that the fans have got a voice, and there's so many things that issues that are going unnoticed because of the volume of fans aren't talking.
I think Kingy's talking about pandemic. I think Kingy's talking about pandemic reasons.
For me, as long as you social distance, I think.
People won't. No, that's the thing. That's the problem.
Yeah,
so,
Chelsea.
I mean, maybe like when restrictions are over, I can understand. Or maybe towards the start of the new season, maybe, but not at the moment, because
I think
For me,
I think there's issues out there that are bigger than the pandemic. I'm going to be completely honest.
No, you can't say that. I'm sorry, because the thing is, the pandemic.
No, be honest. Like racism in football and in general, I think that's bigger than the pandemic.
Oh yeah, racism as a whole, is a big problem at the moment, and we need to do everything we can to stamp it out of football and everything really. For
me, I say protest because the areas are massive. You can social distance. For me, you should. Yeah. And if you actually look at it logically, most of the people now, this is going to put into coronavirus, but people that are protesting, they're going to probably have their vaccine through. For me, as long as you social distance properly, wear your masks, I say go out to these grounds and protest.
I think another issue you've raised there, to be fair, Ethan, as well. I think this season, I think there's been a lot of the Super League, what's happened there, just as well, like the abuse that mixed and race and black players have had in the Premier League this season. I think has been awful.
Yeah,
I think all races have had a lot of abuse from teams from fans this year, and
I really wish that some fans have the same energy as they had with the Super League with protesting, that had the same energy when their own players are being racially abused and social.
Honestly, it's a big topic we can talk about in the future, but just to finish on it, it's just bad how some players that have a bad game. Yeah, you can be annoyed, you can be frustrated, and
criticise the performances. That everyone's entitled to that.
But I think even criticising, I don't think you have to go vocal on it. I think you can maybe talk with friends or family, but some people just go on there. I think people just do it. Some people just do it just to get attention. Honestly, they should be banned off Instagram, and they should. To be fair, anyone that puts an abusive comment, I think they should have a hefty fine or possibly,
banned from social media because they can't be trusted to be proper human beings about it. So why should they be allowed on?
End of the day, the football this year took a hammering from a lot of things, from coronavirus, and people keep being abusive. Players are not going to want to play anymore because I was a player and I was getting constant death threats or racial abuse, from people, I'll be like, I know obviously a lot of these players are a lot stronger than, probably I am or something, but it can really hit you hard, and you just think to yourself, well, what's the point of playing if you're just going to get abuse when they're giving 100% every week, and it's not fair on them. But as I said, that's an issue we can talk about. But there's been a lot of things this season that have caused an uproar.
To be honest, I just want the season to end. To be honest,
yeah,
I'm fed up with it now.
We need to hear from you.
Definitely.
Definitely.
As a Wolves fan, definitely.
we need to all come together as fans and together to stop these things from happening, racism and people trying to take over football, because it's just coming to a point now where it's just ruining the game. If you understand what I mean, and we all need to be more.
Yeah. Anyway,
I'll finish off.
Finish off to we'll close off now. So, guys, the usual: like, share, subscribe. Tell us your opinions on how the Super League's going on. Like, how would you find these owners of the how would you punish them? And again, as before, who would you? It seems like a long time ago, but what are your 6 players in the Hall of Fame? So
it's got to be one of the podcast,
I don't think it's that long, I guess we all know.
It is. Come on now.
But yeah, Brandon, Adam, say goodbye.
Thank you for having us.
Goodbye from me.
Georgie B.
Bye, guys.
Adios. Alex King.
See you, everyone.
And it's goodbye from me. See ya.
Good evening, everybody. A pleasure and a privilege, as always, to be at Anfield, where we are hoping for another miracle like Istanbul. Shaqiri in his own half rolls it square towards Matip. Virgil van John there. Up to Mane. Mistake. Mane into the area. Great skill. Henderson's in the box. Henderson saved the
City celebrating. The party really is just getting started. They've had to wait a very long time.